Okay, so let's get started. Firstly, I'm excited to welcome everyone to Curiosity's Q2 platform update webinar. We've got some awesome updates to show off today. So let's get into it. Let me firstly introduce you to the incredible Toby Richardson. Toby is a test data expert and solutions engineer with over 8 years of experience working with some of the world's largest enterprises to solve their test data needs and challenges across, all of software delivery, with the help of AI and modeling. So thank you for joining us today, Toby.
Thank you very much for having me, Mantis.
Yeah, of
Thank you.
course.
Excited.
Brilliant. Before I pass on to Toby to where he'll talk about all of the great and stuff that we've done with enterprise test data, I just wanted to talk a bit about Curiosity. So at Curiosity, we empower enterprises to thrive by overcoming test data challenges, holding them back in complexity, legacy, and scale, building on decades of experience in unblocking enterprise data delivery. Our pioneering approach, Discover, Act, Monitor, transforms how enterprises manage data. To navigate, the increasingly complex application landscape, organizations must have full control, visibility, and understanding of their data across the whole enterprise, across the whole software delivery lifecycle. Our platform, Enterprise Test Data, empowers your teams by simplifying complex application landscapes and providing you with confidence and clarity at every step of your data journey. This is why Curiosity's three-step approach to test data management and our platform development is beneficial to all enterprises. Through Discover, Act, Monitor, we help enterprises gain deep understanding of their data structure, sensitivity, and relationships, while also enabling them to intelligently execute on actionable insights and intuitively monitor their whole data ecosystem. We believe that Discover, Act, Monitor is a critical framework for TDM teams, and Toby will today speak about our approach and the various improvements and new features that the development team has added across these stages. So without further ado, I think, Toby, I'll just pass it on to you. Please go ahead.
Hey guys, so yes, thank you very much, Mantis. So as Mantis was saying, our Discover Act Monitor is really pioneering how organizations approach their data landscapes, whether that be test data, whether that be their data in general. So the first thing what we need to do here is really need to discover. Now, Curiosity has a huge range of different ways that we can detect your data. We start off with our one-time discovery. So here we're coming in with all our amazing database crawlers, and we're just going out there and we're exploring data across your whole ecosystem. We're then going to start to provide data insights. So this could be AI powered. This could be through our other interrogation. And really, what we're going to be giving you is lots of interesting little snippets. So we could be finding what your KPIs are within your data. We could be finding what is a important order or an order item. Also, when we're scanning with our abilities, especially with our AI driven insights, we can actually start to automatically identify any sensitive data, whether that be PII data, whether we're looking at, we can start to also look at what regulations you need to match and actually use that to drive our identification of that data. So, this is incredibly important when organizations are making sure that their data has been dealt in a sensitive way to make sure they're meeting regulations. It's also incredibly important for data quality. I think anybody who's been working in the data landscape, whether that's been AI, whether that's been test data, has found that bad quality data can really hinder your performance. So we can come in and we can really help with all your quality. Yep, you're right, Mantis. Next slide. So how do we act upon this? Say we found some data which is PII sensitive. Well, there's a number of different ways we can deal with this. Our actability allows you to either mask and subset that data, and actually provide. And we within our dashboards in our monitoring section, we also show that we can also show you that that data which has been identified can also be. We can show you that you are now compliant when we are a test data platform. So it's also very important to provide teams with the test data just right at the right time, right? So that can be through our self-service portal, that can be through our test data pipelines, that can be through integrating with your CI/CD pipelines. A lot of my clients now are moving to a system where they are deploying their databases through a CI/CD pipeline, and then they're calling our platform to actually deliver that data, really giving the developers or testers the data they need to get on with their work. We also have great visual collaboration tools. So whether that's modeling out your test cases, whether that's modeling out your data, it's really important to provide that to show that complexity in a very easy to understand visual representation. We found with a lot of our clients that this is actually a lot easier to understand through the visual approach. And then, finally, it's very important with all of this discovery we're doing to take a proactive approach. There's nothing worse than coming to an end of a sprint and finding out you don't have the right test data for your needs, and the suddenly testing starts slowing everything up. With our proactive approach, we can start shifting left, actually identify your test data needs right at the start of those sprints. So yeah, if we go on to monitoring. So monitoring is all about understanding the change of your ecosystems. Now, from what I've seen, databases changes and development is speeding up. The rate of change has really started to increase over the last 5 to 10 years. Now that means we need to monitor and we need to actually understand the change that is going on. Whether that's an addition of a column in a database, whether that's a new regulation coming in, whether that's like a all of this stuff we need to stay ahead of and we need to understand that's coming in and adapt to that change. So curiosity with our platform, as those schema changes are coming in, we can very quickly identify those changes in our different versions and then say, hey, this new column's coming in, and this would be the suggested test data that you need to speed up your testing and development. Policy enforcement, we've got some new regulations. We can go and scan your data ecosystem and actually find the data that you need to deal with to become compliant with that regulation. We can alert you in any way that you want to be, whether that be email, whether that be Slack, whatever kind of whatever way you want to ingest those alerts. We can find out that your ways of working, and we can give you that information in your desired methodology. AI-driven insights is again, we can actually we use a lot of AI ability to actually understand. So within our monitoring landscape, we will find interesting tables, interesting queries that we think would give you that additional level of understanding within your data. That's perfect. Thanks, Mantis. So we have two updates that I would really like to show you guys. So if I just go and so before I go and show you this ability, so what we now have is our query composer has been enhanced with AI capabilities. Now, very importantly, this now gives us the ability to actually do this on multiple different databases for your ecosystem. So normally within an organization, understanding the data within one database is reasonably hard, but most organizations can actually do this to a decent level. Now, what becomes a lot more difficult, and I know a lot of people who actually have built their data careers solving this problem, is actually how data is linked between different data sources within your ecosystem, whether that's finding relationships between Postgres and SQL, finding different relationships between your two different bits of software and the data underneath. That is incredibly difficult and often takes the time of different SMEs getting into a room to actually find and solve these problems, which can be incredibly time intensive and incredibly difficult. Now, what we've got is using our AI capabilities and our data discovery, we can actually go and find, with our data discovery done beforehand, we will find all those relationships through your data ecosystem. And then we'll be able to use our AI capabilities to actually suggest queries to actually find the data that you need. So I will just go and show you an example of this. I will just go and I will start to share my screen. So here is our query composer. Now, this was just me testing it out beforehand. Now, what we can go and do is we can actually go and ask it to do a cross-platform query. Now, what I want to do is for my testing is I want to use customers which are in two different environments. So here I'm going to be selecting our OT database on the server big AWS 2. And here I'm going to be selecting the OT database, but on a different server, Postgres, big AWS. So I'm going to click OK here. Now that's showing me that I've brought up my two different databases that I'm going to query. Now I'm going to go and ask our AI, hey, can you create me a query that will give me customers in both databases. Now, what this will go and do is this will go and take that query that I've asked. Now, in most of the financials organizations that I'm working in, they will have their own LLM actually integrated within their own firewalls. So for instance, we will connect to that ALM, for instance, OpenAI, and then we will actually connect to that model and we will go and send that query. If you like, think about it using maybe ChatGPT on the internet that you may be using to help your SQL queries. But Curiosity goes one step further. Now, when we're asking for it to create that query, we're actually sending all that information that we have stored in our data dictionary. And if you're familiar with our software, you'll know all of the great information that contains. So it's come up with a query. As we can see, it's a simple query selecting the information, and it's actually using an inner join between the two different databases. Now, if I go ahead and click execute, actually, I will need to take off that semicolon. If I go and click execute, it will then go and execute this query. Now, underneath we have a query engine which is able to query multiple different databases and bring that information in and do the joins here. So here we have our customers which are present in both of our environments and both of the databases that we can now use for our testing. So that is the first one. When I was working back as a data engineer, I think this kind of this ability would have been amazing, right? I can remember so much time spent trying to find out different data relationships between different systems, and it being an absolute nightmare. So that is the first update that we wanted to share with you guys. If we just go back to perfect. Now the next one we have is the AI helper for rule sets. Now, especially with rule set based synthetic data generation, you would need to have a reasonable amount of data understanding to actually start creating those rules. Now, there's nothing worse than when you've got a huge database with lots of different tables. I'm thinking of some of the old legacy mainframe data sets that I've been working with, and it can take a long time to go through and individually work out those rules and start typing them in manually. Now, this is actually a great example for AI to help with using the same LLM functionality, and I'm sure lots of people on this course have used resources like ChatGPT to actually help create their code and also to help understand their data and give them little code snippets. So what we've done is we've gone again one step further. We're using all that information that we've got in our data dictionary, and then we're providing that to the underlying LLM, and we're saying, hey, what would be a good example synthetic data generation rule to use? And it actually takes a lot of context within the tool, and that really helps us to really speed up and accelerate how we're generating our data. One of the reasons why we've created this is because we've been speaking to a lot of our end users, and they're saying your software is great, it really really helps us. Now the question is, we just want to go better and faster all the time. So how can we go faster? And I think this will probably, well, what we found is is reducing times about 90%. Today it's providing 90% of the rules for columns, and then really just the advanced use cases may need to be reviewed by your test data engineers. So if I go and share my screen, I'll show how easy it now is. So if I just share, here we go. Perfect. So here we have one of our rule sets for our synthetic data generation. Now, this will have a lot of information in it from the data dictionary, but there's also another way that we can start putting in useful information. So here we've got these info, and we can start putting in here notes. So for instance, 80% of female names, 20% of male names. Now, these are business rules that we can include on top of our data dictionary that if we would like to. Now, what we can now do is we have the AI assistant here, and then we can actually go and ask it to generate rules for us. So if I just go and click this button, this will go and put rules in for every single column in the data set. As we can see, we've got 10 tables here. So I can just go ahead and click this. Now, what this will go and do is it will go and get information from two places. One from our data catalog, our data dictionary, which has lots of really good information like the statistical analysis. It's got the metadata. And also if you're using our AI technology to go and interrogate the data, it will also have good understanding of the business context for those rules. Now this will go away, and this will go and take all that information and start suggesting different rules. In addition, we can start actually adding a bit more information on here. So as I was showing in the information, we can click on this info, and it's got information here such as 80% female names, 20% male names. Now that will actually go and affect the rules that will be generated. What we can also go and do is if we have already have a pre-existing data set and we want to go and just do a select column to go and get some help, what we can do is we can click on these three dots here on the action set, and then we can go and click populate value using AI. So here we go, it has created some rules for us. And here we can see in the first name, the bit is done. It's saying, okay, yes, it's giving us random integer. If it's less than or equal to 80, it's actually creating us a female first name. What it's also now doing here. Otherwise, if it isn't, it's going to go and create us a male first name. So here we can see it's actually giving us a distribution with the first name, some for female, some for male, matching that we've actually asked to in the description. So I think this will show that we can very rapidly start getting people generating data as soon as we've done our data discovery. This will probably remove 90% of the work from our test data engineers. And this rule set is now ready to go if I'd like to, and I can start generating data using it. So I think this really shows how quickly now we can actually start getting people from their initial test data requests to start generating data. So that is the second product update that I'd like to show you guys. Now, I'd love to talk to you more about what we're actually looking at doing in our roadmap. So we're in quarter two. For those of you who are using the tool and looking at our connectivity, you have seen in the connection UI that loads more different connections have come up. So that shows that we are on track with our roadmap within that data platform bit. We're also improving the UI UX of the data activities, especially around the test data pipelines, right? Um, Now, other things we've been bringing in that we brought in the data discovery and monitoring dashboard. And if we look to the future, we want to be really enhancing our Curiosity AI technology. So, for instance, we'll be enhancing our data discovery abilities with the AI. We'll probably be enhancing the rule set generation that I've just shown you. We're also going to be really enhancing the insights that we can get using AI to interrogate your data. So that's what's coming up in the roadmap that we can see here on the screen. And here's just some other release highlights that we've actually been able to achieve in quarter two. So we've implemented role-based access controls to restrict access to masking defaults. This is coming from a lot of our clients saying that, hey, we love the masking defaults, but we just need to make sure that only the correct people have access to it. So we've listened and we've done that. We've enhanced our C-tunnel connectivity, and that's actually very much part of the AI query composer that I was showing you there. So the query support is actually able to do multiple different databases at the same time. We've also made the key APIs available for C-tunnel. So that's really important if we're actually sending off requests from outside the software, especially as the ICD pipelines. Foreign key management. Everyone loves foreign keys. Sometimes we need to drop or update them or disable them. So we can now as long as we've done our data discovery, we can now automatically create those scripts to drop those or disable those foreign keys depending on your database management system. We've now added also we've also helped keep track of those job progress visibility. So we've added general jobs which actually help you keep tracks of your activities and how they're going on. There's also many more quality of life improvements. I do recommend going to our release notes section to go and find out all of those great things that we have been spending our time on.
Brilliant. Yeah, thank you, Toby. That was really good. Some really interesting stuff there, and I didn't know that everyone loves foreign keys, but now I do. So appreciate that fact. But yeah, thank you again, and I hope that all in all that we've shown that today that our platform is a complete solution covering every stage of test data management with an unmatched range of capabilities. We want enterprise test data to provide a comprehensive range that everyone can use across the whole software delivery lifecycle without delay, even in dynamic environments. And of course, these capabilities include from generation to masking to AI, virtualization, orchestration, modeling, everything you can think of through Discover, Act, and Monitor. But this is why we also believe that Curiosity Software, we've redefined the global standard for test data management. Our AI-enhanced enterprise test data platform enables all enterprises to fully harness the power of their data, overcome limitations of legacy tools, and really understand complex environments while meeting regulatory demands at scale. And adopting the Discover Act Monitor framework isn't just about keeping pace, it's about transforming your data from a potential liability into your most valuable asset. It's about leading the way in the AI era of test data. But I believe that's all we have for you today. So thanks again for everyone for joining, and for Toby for the great presentation. If you'd like to learn more, still have questions, please get in touch with Toby via email or LinkedIn. If you know a colleague who might be interested in our product updates, then share the recording and future updates with them. And finally, please follow Curiosity on LinkedIn or visit our website to stay up to date with our latest news. And then all of these links and the slides with the recording will be shared in a follow-up email tomorrow. So without further ado, just kidding, there is one more thing. We are hosting another webinar on the 23rd of July. Visit our website to register today and join Hugh alongside Chris Faraglia from TestRail to learn how you can align your test data to your evolving center of excellence. So don't miss this opportunity. We're going to have a really interesting webinar with some expert speakers coming up in the future. But yeah, all that remains to be said is a huge thank you for everyone for joining, and a massive thank you for Toby for presenting today. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys. Bye.